lesson 5, and we'll continue on static site development. Right, we'll do the last part from last week to take the data out of the views and making them smarter. Right, so we have views with data using the rapid application development. All right, now we are doing views without data with the MVC. Right, so MVC, if you follow that pattern, we have the model, view, and controller, right? The model provides data to controller, where the controller can now pass that data to the view, right? So, okay, data is currently in the view. Move it back a step to the controller and give the view process data, right? Reverse engineering, we have the controller passes the data to the view as variables, and we specify the view defines variables, assign data to variables. Okay. The view uses the data to generate the final HTML output. If you remember from last lesson, where or last lesson, where the title has different values for different controllers, and depending on which controller was called and view, it would basically change the title, right? So as you can see, the controller holds various variables, and the pug files would now use those variables from the controller, right? And those variables do hold data, right? That's why data can be rendered. Okay, just don't mind the HOB there, and then divide and conquer algorithms, merge sort. So what's happening here. As you can see, the familiarity wherein all of those are being merged into one, right? So it's a divide and conquer. So we have the views and controller, right? Let's say you have about, and that's the view and the specific controller, and the controller file, right? And you do the same, and we have done this in the previous lesson. We're just defining, we're just making them in the tabular format. So you look at the data in the view, you create a structure for that data in the controller, and now you replace the data in the view with references to the controller data and look for opportunities to reduce the code. Meaning, if you're seeing a same code line or code lines, you might want to remove that and create just one and reuse that. Okay. Reverse engineering practice 1, part of your hands-on skill should be okay. About page, remember that the variable is being assigned to the h1, right? Okay, now aside from the title, right, we want to add the content, and we have a string called locator was created to help people find place. Okay, and then here in the content section of your controller, right, you have the br tag, which is the break tag, creates you a new line, right? Also with the /n/n as the new line, right? Okay, so referencing data in the pug, interpolation, you insert data into a string, right? Buffer code is you build a string with JavaScript, right? We've been using the buffer code with the equals operator with the h1. Okay, so for the pug code, again, reference to that link, allows you to write inline JavaScript code in your templates. You're not able to do that in your HTML, right? Usually in your HTML file, you would have another section there with the script tag, okay? Types, unbuffered code, unblock unbuffered code, block unbuffered code, and buffered code, escape buffered code, which we mentioned, and unescape buffered code with the bang and equal sign. Okay, So unbuffered code looks like this, right? You have a for loop, and let's say you iterate 3 times, and you want to generate 3 list tags, right, with the uh, content item, and it would generate on the right hand side. The block unbuffered code would show like this. You have a variable, and you assigned a list with a list of strings, right? And you now have used an iterator with each keyword, item, and in list, right? And what it does is now it would assign the item with the corresponding value in each iteration. It can be uno, and then dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, right? So the escape buffered code shows like this, where you have the uh, you concatenate 2 strings together with the plus operator, right? And that would show as an ampersand LT, right? And the other part is the ampersand GT. So those are basically escaping the what you call this, the greater than and less than symbol, right? Um, then going down, right? Um, we have the unescaped buffered code, right? Where you don't want to escape the greater than less than, right? So this is where you have the HTML tag inside. So and just so you know, it is dangerous. Okay, so you might want to avoid doing the unescaped buffered code. Okay, Pug provides operators for a variety of your different interpolative needs. Escape string interpolation with the hashtag or pound, then curly braces. We've been using that with the title, right? And the unescaped string interpolation with the bang or exclamation point. So an example, right? So we have the title again, and we used it, right? Um, and that part is using the buffer, right? How about the author? We want to use that, right? We can use the string interpolation using the hashtag and curly braces, right? For the unescaped string interpolation, we would basically use the, instead of a hashtag, the exclamation point. Okay. So replacing the data view to reference, we are now using 2 variables, the title and the content. Okay. And make sure to replace all line breaks with the BR tags, right? As you can see, this replace method, right? It includes 2 parameters. One is it's saying this is a regex symbol that denotes the 2 red slashes there, and says the \n and search G globally, and replace it with a BR tag. Okay. Okay, do the corresponding HOS. Okay, keep moving and adding the review page. And okay. Alright, so again, the review page looks like this. It has the H1 tag with review star cups, and the form submission starts with the form, with the action, method, and the role, right? And you want to have the input there, where you have the input as the name value and rating, and you can now select the ratings so that it would assign the rating value. Okay, this is just a label, right? This is a select, where you select, you grab that value. Okay, text area, and the button to submit your review or add your review. Okay, so before you have this, right, in your locations.js controller, where you have a function called add review, right, that renders the location dash review dash form template and has the title variable with the add review value, right? And aside from that, we do want to add another, which we call page header, and we want to have the title review startups. Okay, so we can access that because it's a nested object, right? With a JavaScript object notation, you can do page header.title to access that one. Okay, more HOS. Continue. Okay. And the ampersand NBSP is a non-breaking space. So just to add spaces there. Find place to work Wi-Fi near you. Okay. And now you add another one. So from the title, you have the strap line. And this time around, we're changing or extending, right, our controllers for the home list. And replace the data in the view with references to the controller data, locations dash list pug. Okay. Instead of the hard-coded find places to work with Wi-Fi near you, we change it to a string interpolation, escape string interpolation with a hashtag curly brace, right? And page header to access the nested object with this strapline. Okay, should get this view. And now we want to do this, the star cups, the stars. Okay. Name, rating, distance away, list of facilities. Okay, so we can show a list of locations with their informations, right? So in the pug, if you want to iterate, we can use the each keyword, then define the variable that we want to reuse, and the in keyword followed by the array that we want to iterate. Okay, we can also use the while. Okay, so fixing this one as well, we have the slash location star cups, and let's say set of star cups, you say location dot name, right? Okay, location dot name includes the div class card, creates us like a card, right, or like a box, like, right? And inside that card, you have a card block that shows the star cup, so it's like the title of the card, and you have another card block wherein it shows another location, Cafe Hero, and another one with the Burger Queen. Okay, so the location and distance address, you wanna have the location name, okay, and in your span tag using the pug, you do want to have the location distance and another p tag with the location dot address. So, okay, we are now assigning buffered, right? And that should look like this, right? You have the three cards: Star Cups, Cafe Hero, Burger Queen, and each of them has their corresponding the H, the span, and the P, right? The span are these red distance, right? Okay. Location rating, right? We can also iterate the stars, right? Given the number of rating for that certain location, let's create the same number of stars. That's basically what the loop is saying. Okay, so if StarCraft has 3 stars, it will loop 3 times to create that star, right? And as you can see, right, for the first iteration, it would create the stars with the dark color, right? Or and then the other for loop creates the star with the empty background, right? Okay. Right. Next is facilities. So we want to iterate over the facilities again using each keyword, each followed by the variable, any variable that you want to name it, and then the in keyword followed by the array that we want to iterate over, right? And then for each facility, again, whatever variable you name, you want to assign that to the span, right? And now you would have hot drinks, food, premium Wi-Fi, right? Those are the location that facilities, the array, the elements of that array, right? Okay, now you want to add the sidebar as part of your in the variables that you can use, right? Again, just to note that the second parameter in the rest.render is just one object, and we're just basically accessing the keys, and also accessing the nested objects inside, right? So once we have that sidebar key or variable, we can now assign it to the p tag, right? You can also reuse code by placing it in the underscore includes with the mix-ins, right? And now you can just use that this stars, right? Shared HTML functions. So breaking decomposition is basically breaking a complex problem or system into parts that are easier to conceive, understand, program, and maintain. Decomposition paradigms: functional programming, structured programming, object-oriented programming, modular programming. This might not make sense if your code is so small, but once your code gets larger and larger, it's easy to have a more decoupled or decomposed code base, as you're easier to maintain, identify the root cause of the problem, or add new features without breaking others, right? So mixin allows you to create reusable blocks of pug, right? Think of it like layout, right? The layouts. Mixins are compiled to functions and can take arguments. And the syntax for calling a mixin is to place a plus operator before its name, right? So if you have, let's say, a mixin function, right, takes in a parameter name for a pet, and it will basically return a list with the pet of name, right? And you can basically use that in your UL and then do a plus pet, right? Because that's now the name of your custom reusable block, right? Location rating, okay, revisiting this one, and now if we put that there, right, and maybe call it output rating, and then we can use the mix-in named output rating, right, and then pass the same variable, the location dot rating, right? Okay, more HOS, star cups, okay, location dot info, create a structure for the data, see this, place the data in the view with references to controller data, location info pug. And these are the stars. Okay, further refactoring, adding basically more information in your data. Okay. Code block, adding the title of the opening hours as well. So more of the same thing. Now having the times.days, you can basically grab the elements of that array. Facilities, right? Okay, location map. If you did implement a Google API, then yes, you can do this. Or you can hard code coordinates and add a free image instead, right? Okay, so the reviews part, you do want to add review and the stars. Oh, and we see stars, and then we can reuse, right? Okay, see, the stars are now here as well. Okay, place the data in the view with reference to the controller data location info pug. So more refactoring. Okay, and say it again, more of the same thing. So in this lesson, we've been refactoring, moving our code, making it reusable, decomposing it, creating mix-ins with pug, right? Using iterators with each keyword, each and in keyword, right? And also the for loop, and make it more maintainable, right? Okay, so this is for this week. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you very much.